Hi there. My name is Dr. Lily Lopez-McGee, and I am the director of the Thomas R. Pickering Foreign Affairs Fellowship Program, a State Department-funded program housed at Howard University. The program started in 1992 and has had a long history of fulfilling its mission of providing excellence and diverse candidates into the U.S. Department of State's Foreign Service. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the program, some exciting changes that we've had for the 2021 application cycle, and I look forward to going over the material with you. So the Pickering Graduate Fellowship Program promotes excellence and diversity in the Foreign Service and prepares individuals for careers in the Foreign Service of the U.S. Department of State. The program provides up to $42,000 in funding for each year of a two-year graduate program at a U.S.-based institution in an area of relevance to the U.S. Department of State's Foreign Service. This is an increase over the amount that we have previously awarded. In previous years, the award was $37,500. This year it is $42,000. We're excited about that change. That equals about $84,000 per year towards a two-year master's degree. In addition to the funding award, our program also provides an in-depth orientation to the fellowship program and the Foreign Service that usually happens in late May, early June. And then we provide funding to funded internship experiences. The first is a 10-week internship experience at the Department of State in Washington, D.C., completed in between fellows' first and second year of graduate school, and then our fellows go on to complete a 10-week overseas internship at a consulate or embassy overseas in the summer following their graduation and completion of their graduate degree. In addition to the formal components of the program, we also provide wraparound mentorship. Our fellows receive a senior mentor that has upwards of 10 years or more of experience. And they also receive a program sponsor, someone who has an early career professional who has gone through and experienced the Pickering Fellowship Program. Our fellows, ultimately, the fellowship program culminates in employment with the Department of State, pending as a Foreign Service officer, assuming that the fellow successfully completes all of the requirements and the entry requirements for the Foreign Service. There's a 5-year service obligation, so in addition to the 2-year master's program, our fellows also complete 5 years, at minimum 5 years of service as a Foreign Service officer. I will say that most of our fellows, remain in the service long after their 5-year service commitment, and that speaks and is a testament to the exciting nature of a Foreign Service career. There are 3 core eligibility requirements for those who are seeking to apply to the Pickering Fellowship this year. They must have U.S. citizenship at the time of the application deadline, which this year falls on October 21st. They must have a cumulative GPA of a 3.2 on a 4.0 scale from their undergraduate institution or at the time that they're applying. So if you are a graduating senior, you must have a 3.2 on your transcripts by that October deadline. And for those who have graduated, you do have to have a 3.2 from your undergraduate institution. You must also be seeking enrollment in a 2-year master's degree program starting in the fall of 2021. And the programs must be in an area of relevance to the U.S. Department of State's Foreign Service. And what we mean by that is a program that essentially focuses on, it could be in international affairs, it could be business administration, public policy, management, and that kind of thing. Really anything that is applicable to the work of a Foreign Service generalist. All applicants do apply to graduate programs separately, and I will talk a little bit about graduate programs in a few slides. The fellowship timeline for this year is a bit different. So our application opened in late July. The application will close on October 21st of 2020, and we will select 90 finalists to join us for a virtual selection experience that takes place in December. This year we'll be selecting 90. That is up from the 60 that we have interviewed in previous years, so that's exciting news. All of the 90 finalists will be notified by November 24th about their advancement to the next round of the selection process. And the interviews will take place virtually from December 15th to the 16th. And the 45 fellows, which again is an increase from last year, it's a 50% increase from previous years. The 45 fellows who are selected for the program will be notified by December 17th. All those who applied to the program will hear from us by the 17th as well. And then our orientation for the new cohort of 2021 Pickering Fellows will take place in early June of 2021. So let's talk a little bit about how the funding breaks down for the Fellowship Award. So our fellows receive up to $24,000 per year towards tuition and mandatory fees at the approved programs. They're approved 2-year master's programs. And in addition to the $24,000, we also provide an $18,000 per year living stipend that is issued directly to the fellow. Our fellows are also receive compensation for their time during their summer internships. Our fellows do 2 internships, one in Washington, D.C., in between their first and second year of graduate school, and one overseas after they complete their master's degree program. And each of those summer internships offers up to $11,000 towards living expenses, round-trip transportation to and from either Washington, D.C. or their overseas post, housing, and visas and inoculations for the overseas internship. In addition to the funding, our fellows also receive robust professional development opportunities throughout the program, including mentorship with current Foreign Service officers. They also experience lots of opportunities to connect and network with Foreign Service officers during their internships, as well as during their orientation in that first summer they are with us. One thing to note about the graduate funding is that in addition to the $42,000 that our fellows receive each year, there are a number of different graduate programs that provide additional funding to our fellows for approved programs. The fellowship program has developed partnerships with nearly 40 institutions across the United States in areas of international affairs, public policy, public administration, business administration, and economics, and other related graduate programs. And these programs have committed to providing additional funding to our fellows. And this is important because as the cost of graduate schools increase, the award amounts that our partner institutions are able to provide becomes really helpful to our fellows' participation in the program. I will note here that the fellows do have to apply to applicants, and fellows need to apply to the graduate programs during the time that they are applying to our fellowship, and those applications do take place separately. And while applicants are encouraged to look at our partner institutions, fellows can take their funding to any program in an area of relevance to the Foreign Service with an international component to it. They would just need to get approval from the program to move forward with a program that may not already be on our partner list. With great benefits also come great responsibility and obligations. Our fellows are required to obtain and maintain a State Department medical, security, and suitability clearance. This process begins at the moment that they are accepted to the fellowship program. We will collect information relevant to initiating the security clearance process, and fellows will be asked to complete a number of different forms at the time that they are selected. For the security and suitability clearances, there are often things that will prevent or preclude someone from obtaining the clearance, and I would encourage anyone who's looking to apply to the program to visit our obligations page on our website. It outlines in great detail some of the issues that might come up and prevent someone from getting a clearance, like use of illicit drugs like marijuana, for example, or financial irresponsibility. And again, our website does a really good job at outlining those stipulations. If there are applicants who have specific questions about a case, whether it's related to security clearances or to medical clearances, we are also happy to take those questions directly. You can reach our staff at pickeringfellowship.org. and we will get back to you to speak with someone directly if you do have concerns. In addition to obtaining and maintaining the appropriate clearances, our fellows do also have to maintain a GPA of a 3.2 throughout the course of their graduate degree. We will collect information after each semester to make sure that fellows are meeting their obligations here as well. Our fellows do also have to take the Foreign Service Officer written exam, and they do have to take and pass the Foreign Service Officer oral exam. Our fellows do receive quite a bit of support during the process. I mentioned a mentorship, so they are connected with current officers who have gone through the process. We also provide lots of professional development around really honing in on writing skills and working with others and the like. So there is lots of support around meeting the entry requirements of the Foreign Service. But again, our fellows are required to take the written exam and to take and pass the Foreign Service Officer oral assessment. There is a 5-year service obligation that all fellows have to meet as well. So after the overseas internship is completed, our Pickering fellows start their A100 class generally in the fall following their graduation year. For this year's class, it'll be fall 2023. And from that A100 class, which is the training class that all Foreign Service officers have to go through, they will then move. Their 5-year service obligation will begin. So let's talk a little bit about grad school. So our fellows attend graduate programs from all across the country. They attend some of the top IR program, international relations programs, ones that include Georgetown, Columbia, Harvard, Tufts, and others. They also attend lots of really incredible public policy programs like the Ford School at the University of Michigan, the Evans School at the University of Washington, at the University of California, San Diego, and several others. We also have fellows who complete master's degrees in business administration and management. So if you are interested in pursuing more management and administration types of programs, that is something that we are able to fund and the department is very interested in. We have expanded the types of programs that we are able to provide funding for to include programs such as industrial and organizational psychology, organizational management and leadership, and other types of programs. For those who are particularly interested in the management track and the consular track, for the consular track, we would also look at programs such as migration and immigration policy. All must be 2-year programs, 2-year typically in-person programs that would, under normal circumstances, take place on campus. We are not able to do exclusively online programs. The programs must be held in person under, again, normal operating circumstances. COVID-19 has prevented many programs from doing that, but generally the programs must be done in person. They also have to be US based. So unfortunately, we're not able to provide support for programs outside of the United States. The good thing is that we have lots of really great programs offered across the country here in the United States that would fit into the criteria of the fellowship funding. Again, just to reiterate, our fellows do have to maintain their 3.2 GPA, and they also have to attend full-time. The purpose of the funding is to help offset the cost of attending a graduate program full-time, so our fellows must maintain full-time status during the academic year. And then just as a reminder, our fellows do have to apply to graduate programs separately. There are programs that do have December deadlines that will fall before the time that our notifications go out for the awards. So I would encourage applicants to apply early, check out the dates early, also take the GRE if you have not yet. While our application does not require the GRE, many graduate institutions still do. So take a look at their application requirements so that you can apply to the programs that really are of interest to you as you're looking at toward the Pickering Fellowship Program as an opportunity as well. Our orientation for the fellows usually takes place in that first week of June of the year that they're selected. So next year it'll be June 2021. And it is a 1-week program where Under normal circumstances, we fly folks out to Washington, D.C. to stay at Howard University and participate in a whole host of different professional development opportunities and networking activities to initiate the medical exams and the medical clearance. I did mention that fellows are required to obtain a medical clearance. We will schedule medical appointments for those fellows who are not based in the DC area during the orientation as a way to help initiate that process. In addition, our fellows spend quite a bit of time at the Department of State connecting with current Foreign Service officers to learn about the way that the department operates and all of the things going on there, and to learn about the life and experiences, the lifestyle and experiences of current Foreign Service officers. Our fellows also participate in a domestic internship at the U.S. Department of State in Washington, D.C. It is a 10-week placement that takes place in between the first and second year of graduate school. We will fly fellows out from either their home or their school to Washington, D.C. to participate in the program. Fellows will either stay on Howard's campus, or if they are attending grad school in Washington, D.C. and already have their own housing identified, we can also provide housing support in that regard as well. Our fellows work in lots of different offices and bureaus throughout the department. Our fellows apply to internships in the summer before the summer right before they start graduate school for their domestic internships. And our fellows, to give you an example of some of the places where they have worked, they've worked in the Ops Center, they have worked in regional bureaus such as the Western Hemisphere Affairs, Near Eastern Affairs bureaus. They've also worked in functional bureaus such as the Educational and Cultural Affairs Bureau, the Population and Migration Bureau, among many others. So the opportunities are really endless to get a sense of how the department operates. And this internship in particular is a unique experience because most Foreign Service officers will not necessarily have a DC-based post until their second or third tour as a Foreign Service officer. So for our fellows, this really gives them exposure to how the department operates here in Washington, D.C. We also do a whole host of professional development activities, networking activities, and other really exciting ways to connect with current Foreign Service officers and their cohort. In addition to the domestic internship, our fellows also do an overseas internship. This is also a 10-week placement. Their overseas internship will take place after they've completed their graduate degree. And they generally start in mid-May and go through the summer. We will provide transportation to and from the post where they will be interning, and our fellows really do intern all over the world at different embassies and consulates in a whole host of different regions and sections of those posts. So we have had fellows in every region, in every regional bureau that you can think of, the Africa Bureau, East Asia Pacific, Western Hemisphere, Near Eastern, European, Eurasia, all of them. And they have interned in all of the different sections of the embassy, including the management, political, public diplomacy, economics, and consular sections. So it really gives fellows a good understanding of what life is like as a Foreign Service officer, because they are interning during the summer, which is a high transition period for Foreign Service officers. They also gain real life experience as early career officers. They will often get portfolios that early career officers would have at post. So it's an excellent training opportunity. So what are you signing up for as an applicant to the Pickering Fellowship Program? I did mention that there is a 5-year service obligation. So what does that 5-year service obligation look like? So our fellows ultimately become U.S. Department of State Foreign Service officers. These are our U.S. diplomats, the folks who represent U.S. foreign policy at all of our diplomatic missions overseas. The State Department has over 270 posts and missions overseas. And our fellows serve as consular officers, they serve as management officers, economics officers, public diplomacy officers, and political officers. And if you are the type of person who is committed to public service, who is interested in international affairs, who really is intellectually restless and likes new challenges every couple of years, this is really the job for you. Our Foreign Service officers usually have tours lasting anywhere from a year to 3 years in a post or overseas, where they will work in their career track of interest. Generally, all of our Foreign Service officers start out with do a consular tour at some point early on in their career, and then will usually do work in their career track, which looks really different depending on what it is that you're interested in doing. We do have some really great resources on our website, linking back to the careers.state.gov website, where you can find a career track quiz to get a sense of which track is up your alley. Are you the type of person that's really organizationally driven and like working with people? Maybe the management track is for you. Are you someone who really likes serving people, customer service, working on issues of migration and that type of policy? Maybe the consular track is for you. I'd encourage you to do some exploration as you look to apply to the program. Really figure out what aspects of what the life of a Foreign Service officer looks like. The careers website for the State Department has a lot of really excellent resources, as do the profiles on our Pickering website. And I would encourage you to do some of that research early on in your application as well. So let's talk a little bit about what the application looks like. So there are several components to our application. There are 3 statements. One is a personal statement where you will be able to tell the selection committee who you are and what your motivation is for applying to the program. The personal statement is 600 words. We also have a financial need statement, and this is a statement that provides context for what your need is for graduate school. The Pickering Fellowship Program is a need-oriented fellowship opportunity, and we will ask you several questions about financial need that request information about income, parental income, and that kind of thing. But we also provide this 400-word financial need statement as a space for you to contextualize what those different data points mean. In addition to those 2 statements, this year we do have a new brief essay, a 350-word essay, where we ask our applicants to demonstrate their planning and organizational skills. So applicants will be asked to give an example of a time where they've had to organize and plan an event or activity or a project that can be either personal, professional, or academic, and to really exemplify the dimension of planning and organization that the State Department looks for in their Foreign Service officers. In addition to the statements, we also ask for 2 letters of recommendation, one from a faculty member or instructor. Remember, you're applying to a 2-year master's program as well, and our selection committee would like to hear from someone about how prepared you are to enter a graduate program. So the faculty and instructor letter of recommendation is important. We will also ask for a second letter of recommendation from a community leader, which is someone who can speak to the fellow more holistically outside of their academics. Maybe it's from a previous supervisor who can speak to your work ethic or your commitment to public service. Perhaps it's someone who has overseen your work as an organizational leader or a volunteer who can speak to your commitment to international affairs and working with people from diverse and international backgrounds. So those are the 2 letters of recommendation. We also require proof of citizenship, which will take the form of either your passport page, a copy of your certificate of naturalization, or your birth certificate. We will also ask for the most current student aid report, which you will need to get generated by the FAFSA government website. All applicants do have to submit this. This is a required component of the application. And this year, because our deadline falls in late October, all applicants are expected to have the 2021-2022 FAFSA student aid report for their application. In addition to the student aid report, if you still have access to, or if it is applicable to you, we also ask applicants for their financial aid award letter from their senior year of undergrad. And again, this is to provide context for your need from undergrad. We will also ask for transcripts from all colleges and universities you've attended. General rule of thumb, if you took more than 2 classes at an institution, even if it was just a semester of study abroad or a semester a summer where you took some community college courses, we will need a copy of those transcripts or the grades. So if your institution integrated the transfer courses and transfer the courses onto your transcript with your grades, that would work. If your transfer credits do not appear with grades, we will need the original transcript from the other institution. And then we do offer applicants the opportunity to submit the GRE or GMAT scores. These are not required, they are optional for the application. But do recall that many graduate schools do require a GRE or GMAT score in order to apply, so we would encourage you, even if you're not submitting it to the fellowship program, that you do take the GRE or GMAT, and if you plan to apply to programs that require them. And then all of these application components do have to be submitted online using our online portal by October 21st. So what makes a competitive application? I think there are a couple of key points that I want to encourage you all to think about. One is that make sure that you meet all of the eligibility requirements. There are, again, as a reminder, there are 3 core eligibility requirements for the fellowship. You have to have U.S. citizenship at the time of application, you have to have a 3.2 GPA, and you have to be seeking enrollment into a 2-year master's program in the fall of 2021. If any of those things do not apply to you, you will not be eligible to move forward with the application. Unfortunately, we don't have any wiggle room with the 3.2 GPA, so if you have a 3.1, for example, a 3.17, we are not able to round up. So make sure that you read the requirements for the fellowship early on in the process. Also, use your statement of interest as an opportunity to highlight your motivations for applying to the Pickering Fellowship Program and ultimately as a Foreign Service Officer. Remember, this is a program that ultimately culminates in a career as a Foreign Service Officer. It is a hiring pipeline. And so our selection committee will be looking for folks who have some working knowledge of the Department of State, what diplomats do, and folks who have had experiences that make them well qualified to enter the Foreign Service. So it might be exposure to working with people who are from diverse backgrounds or working in an international context. It comes in the form of working on issues related to public service, volunteer work, community service work. So use your statement of interest and all of the different components of your application to really tell the story of how it is that your background and experiences align to the work of the Foreign Service and why it is that you're applying to this program at this moment. Also recall that the programs are aimed at bringing in excellence and diversity into the Foreign Service. So what about your experiences might make you uniquely prepared to represent the United States as a Foreign Service officer? Make sure to respond to all the questions. I mentioned that there are several required components of the application, but make sure that you're also going through and responding to each one of the questions appropriately, that you've read and understood them. For example, a common mistake that has happened in the past is that we ask folks to list their expected date of graduation from their graduate school. Oftentimes people will put in incorrect dates. Make sure that you read the questions carefully so that doesn't immediately remove you from consideration for something that might have actually just been a clerical error. Also, we provide a whole section for you to highlight your honors and awards, both professional and academic, and a space for you to include extracurricular activities that you've participated in. Use that to list any and all things that you've done. And this is the same thing with your employment history. If there are areas where you think that it would be relevant to include it. We often get the question about whether or not it's appropriate to include work history that does not have a specific focus on international affairs or relations. Maybe you had to work while you were in undergrad and you worked as a cashier at Gap or a retail store. Highlight the things that really get at the 13 dimensions of the Foreign Service. You have customer service abilities. You've held positions of responsibility. Maybe you worked your way up to be cashier and now you're managing a small group of people. Don't discount some of your experiences because they may not be explicitly international or State Department focused. There are lots of different experiences that our Foreign Service officers bring with them that exemplify the skills and traits that are required to be a successful Foreign Service officer. So be sure to include all of those highlights in all of the different areas of the application. And remember that the fellowship is looking at academic achievements as well. We do have the 3.2 GPA requirement, and our fellows are required to maintain that during their graduate school experience. So anywhere you can, highlight where you've been able to succeed academically, and highlight any particular achievements in that area, including Dean's List. Maybe you were recognized with a merit award. Make sure to include those. I would also invite you to remember that recommenders are important. Invite people who are positioned to write strong letters on your behalf. Don't assume that everybody is going to say great things about you. Make sure that you are providing information to them that will make you put your best foot forward in the application, and also connect it to the application. If you have the time and space to pull together a couple of bullet points, maybe even share your personal statement with your recommenders, that'll make it even easier for them to say really positive things about how you would be well positioned to receive the award. Also recall that the program does look at financial need. So take that financial statement seriously. I would also just highlight that this is related to the last point. Be sure to proofread and review your statements. If you spent a lot of time crafting your personal statement, that's well and excellent. If our selection committee gets to your financial needs statement and sees lots of grammatical errors, maybe some typographical errors, that might put into question whether or not you are paying attention to detail or have the level of writing skills that was presented in your first statement. So make sure that you're also spending some time on that. But do spend some time crafting the financial needs statement as well. Our selection committee does spend time looking at all three of the different statements to see how your whole profile is coming together. Our application deadline this year is October 21st. You can visit our website at www.pickeringfellowship.org. You can email us at pickeringfellowship@howard.edu. Follow us on Twitter at pickeringprog. You can also find us on Instagram and YouTube, where we have lots of interesting and helpful resources. We will be building out sections of our social media. That's where you can find the most up-to-date information possible. You'll also find profiles of our fellows that will help you get a sense for the things the experiences that our fellows have had and what makes a successful Foreign Service officer. So monitor those closely. Let us know if you have any questions, and we look forward to receiving your application.